Hey Eurovision fans, it's Tom coming to you from Dublin and I'm back for another Eurovision analysis video. There's just over 2 weeks left until the start of Eurovision and we currently have two main favourites, Käärijä from Finland and Loreen from Sweden. Now winning Eurovision isn't just about you and your performance, it's also about what's around you and do you stand out. So today I'm going to go through all of the semi-finalists and talk about whether I think them qualifying will help Käärijä win or help Loreen win. So let's kiki. So I originally came up with the concept for this idea when I was doing my Eurovision scoreboard series, and one of the things that I kept seeing there was when a song of a certain genre entered into the Eurovision scoreboard, which is a fan voting app, songs of that same genre were disproportionately affected. They would lose a lot more percentage of their points than other songs did. Now that's something you probably assume anyway, you know, if a rock song comes in, surely that would affect other rock songs, but it was nice to see like actual objective data proving that in a way. And it got me thinking, okay, well, what happened if there were 20 other female pop songs in the final? Surely Loreen would be disproportionately affected compared to Käärijä. Likewise, if we had 15 rock rap songs in the final, surely Käärijä wouldn't stand out as much either. So it really does show that the Eurovision final is not just about you, it's also about what's your competition. Are there a lot of people who overlap with your genre? Are they stealing your thunder? Are they taking the limelight away from you? If you're very, very special and unique and you stand out and nobody else is like you, like Salvador Sobral or like Jamala, that's definitely something that's going to really help you on your way to winning Eurovision. Now, obviously, there's very, very little that these artists can do to control who's with them in the final, but today I thought it would be interesting to go through all the semi-finalists and the automatic qualifiers as well and see how can they possibly influence who's going to do better between these two. I want to stress that the purpose of this video is more like a thought experiment on the relationship between songs in Eurovision. It's not like just Käärijä versus Loreen, and I don't want the comment section to turn into this like big Käärijä versus Loreen fight. I'm more just exploring and analyzing like relationship. All 37 countries have relationships with each other, but I can't analyze all that because it would take 5 years. So I thought it would be simpler just to pick two people. But yeah, we can kind of extrapolate the conversation to more people, and if you have any more observations yourself, please leave them in the comment section down below. I will definitely miss something, and there are always really, really cool comments pointing out lots of interesting points. Now throughout the video I'm going to be saying Käärijä wants, Loreen wants. Obviously Käärijä and Loreen haven't texted me and said, Tom, I want you to organize this for me. Like when I say want, you know what I mean. I'm saying this would be better for them. It's quicker for me to say wants than would be better for them 500 times in one video. Loreen and Käärijä are both lovely people. They don't want anyone to not qualify. Käärijä is a puppy and Loreen is a mother. So mothers and puppies are very good people. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about, because of every single semi-finalist, the one that I think would affect either of these two the most is Alessandra. Definitely. If you said to me as Loreen's manager or agent or whoever, you can pick one person to not qualify from the semi-finals, who do you want to not qualify? Absolutely, 100% I would pick Norway. This has got such a huge overlap with Loreen, it's crazy. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see this in my Eurovision scoreboard video because Norway's song was on the scoreboard before Loreen's was. But when Loreen came in, Alessandra lost a lot of points. Yeah, I just think there's a huge overlap here in terms of kind of like a strong, powerful female with fast tempo Nordic pop song. There's such a huge overlap. Now, that's not surprising. Sweden and Norway have a huge overlap in their music industry and their stylistic production elements and everything. So this isn't a surprise. But yeah, I'm not expecting this to shock non-qualify. Some people are actually talking about this as a contender to win Eurovision. I'm not there yet, although I would love it. I would love if Norway won. If she non-qualified, my God, this will help Loreen's televote so much. It'll help her jury score a little bit as well, but I don't really think that Loreen needs that much help with her jury score. I think it'd be really hard for Käärijä to win because Loreen's gonna get maybe 30, 40 extra points in her televote. So this goes under Käärijä wants. Käärijä wants Norway to qualify, definitely. Actually, let's put it over this side. Oh, I'm going to write on two qualify just to make it clear, because it could be like Loreen wants a hot dog. Käärijä definitely wants Alessandra to qualify because it'll hurt Loreen's televote. Now let's go to the other side, and this is another semi-final one country, and I think this is the country that Loreen wants to qualify because it's going to hurt Käärijä's televote, and that is Croatia. Now look, Croatia's a little bit hard to predict. This could go really, really well in the televote and be kind of like top 5, top 10 if they get the staging really well and this gets a lot of news coverage and press and a lot of hype behind it. It could also flop in the semi-final. But one thing's for sure is that this song brings chaos, it's party, it's crazy, it's Käärijä. It really does have like a lot of similarities in terms of that like wild, unexpected, something different. It's got some rock elements to it. It's a bad boy rebel song, and that's a lot of overlap with Käärijä. So I think that if Croatia does qualify, that is going to cut into Käärijä's televote, and I still think that Käärijä can win the televote. I also feel he needs a televote buffer because he's not going to do as well in the jury. I hope he does, but if we look historically at the jury, they tend to vote for Christian pop songs. Well, they tend to favor Christian pop songs. So I'm not expecting them to vote for Käärijä. You know, we saw Hattori did really badly with the jury. You know, they're generally like bad boy rebel stuff. They don't tend to reward it. I think they could really take Käärijä's lead. So Loreen wants Croatia to qualify. Sorry, Loreen's agent. Her agent wants them to qualify. Okay, another person that Käärijä wants, and this is a lady from semi-final number 2. Now, remember when I did those Eurovision scoreboard videos, we saw this huge overlap in lady pop. One of those people who really chipped into Loreen's lead when she entered the Eurovision scoreboard was Iru from Georgia. Now, this song has been a little bit unusual for me. I loved it when it came out, and they seem to have quite a bit of hype. That hype seems to have like really died. I'm wondering, could this be potentially be one of the songs that gets new hype when rehearsals start? I heard a potential rumor that they're going for quite big, ambitious staging. I don't know how reliable that source is, but if they do go for something big, and we know that Georgia aren't really shy in holding back, they're pretty rebellious themselves. If so, and this makes a huge impact, she's got the singing potential that this could like chip away at Loreen's jury score a little bit, but definitely her televote as well. So this is a real unknown quantity, but I think that it would just be safer for Loreen if Iru didn't qualify because it'll affect her televote. So Käärijä wants Georgia to qualify. Let's go to another person that Käärijä wants, and that is another lady who's bringing powerful energy, and that is Noa Kirel from Israel. Now this again is another unknown quantity. I feel like Israel are being quite strategic this year in that they're holding back a lot of information about what their staging is going to be. I'm expecting a big show. I know they've put in close to $1 million into this. Noa Kirel obviously has a big record company behind her. I'm trying not to get too overhyped for it, but I have to admit, I'm really expecting something very spectacular along a similar lines to Chanel in terms of wow impact. If that is the case and her televote is going to be pretty good, again, I think this is going to eat more into Loreen than it's going to eat into Käärijä. I think the overlap between Loreen and Noah's fans is pretty big. We've seen that Israel's doing really well in OJE. I've seen in a lot of people top 10 and online simulations that there's a huge overlap between people who like Tattoo and people who like Unicorn. And then when both are presented to them, they need to make a choice. Whereas if you only have one choice, well, then it's pretty easy who you're going to vote for. So for me, Käärijä wants this to be a big, amazing, kind of gay stage show, like a big gay pop fest. Brightness and colors and whatnot, that kind of draws away from Loreen's vote. Let's talk about something that Loreen wants and she's already got, and that is Lord of the Lost being an automatic qualifier. Again, another rock entry. I think there's going to be quite a decent overlap of people who like Käärijä song and like Lord of the Lost song. Anyone who's into that like thrashier, heavier metal rock sound. Germany have already qualified. So what Loreen wants with this is that these songs are as close together in the staging as possible. So for example, if Germany was 11th in the running order and Käärijä was 14th, that's pretty close, that they don't cancel each other out, obviously, but it does detract a little bit from Käärijä's impact. Remember, one of the big things you want at Eurovision is that when you come onto the screen, that people are like, whoa. Lord of the Lost are definitely going to have a wow moment when they come on screen. The way that the song starts, the way that they're styled, it's going to be really big impact. I'm really hoping Germany do well this year. I think that Käärijä wants to be quite far away from Germany, and I think he'd rather that he went first. So for example, he would be maybe 16th and then Lord of the Lost would be something like 23rd, so that he had the idea first to be wild and crazy and rock, and then Lord of the Lost came in and did it but not as well. That's like an ideal situation, but definitely for Loreen, her big thing is she wants Lord of the Lost to steal the thunder from Käärijä. Now let's talk about another thing that Käärijä wants, and he's already got it because France is another automatic qualifier. And we have seen now that France could do extremely well in the jury. If you're following Eurojury, which is a fan-led jury simulation with actual music professionals doing jury voting, quite similar to what happens in actual Eurovision. France are currently second in this. They're getting points from almost every single jury. So yes, this could chip a little bit into Loreen's jury score. Now the jury thing is a little bit complicated because some people might say, okay, well, France could end up being a buffer. Like, for example, if Loreen's first and then France is second and then Finland's third in jury points, well, then actually France has helped Loreen get more points distance from Finland. Yeah, that is a possibility, but based on what I saw in Eurovision scoreboard, generally a song coming in negatively affected people in its own genre. It didn't affect people in another genre, so I hope that makes sense. But yeah, I think that France is a potential dark horse to win. I don't see it at this point in time. They need to bring something in the rehearsals that elevates this, but I think they have the capacity to do that. I think they did an amazing job with Baba Pravi 2021, and that song did way better in the televote than I thought. Second in the televote, I believe, which I never would have guessed. So they really just nailed that. If they can do this again, yeah, this is really going to chip into Loreen's televote and jury score if they get things right. Okay, let's get to an actual person who has to qualify. And this one is not a guaranteed qualifier. Käärijä definitely wants Alika to qualify. His neighbor in Estonia. She's really going to chip into Loreen's jury score. Like, I think a lot of people are agreeing that Alika's jury score could be pretty decent. I would imagine she's almost definitely going to be top 10 in the jury if she makes the final, possibly even getting into top 7, top 6. She's just got all those kind of like criteria ticked off. Not really originality in the song, but in terms of vocal capacity, she's really exceptional. Okay, let's go to another qualifier that Loreen wants, and I don't see this happening, but you never know, things can change, and that is San Marino. I was actually looking at the odds the other day from 2018 and Mole from Eugen Bushpepa. Before rehearsal started, that was 18th out of 18 to qualify from semi-final number 1 of 2018. So he ended up qualifying. He did need the jury's help. He came 11th in the televote, but he was 3rd in the running order. Still, you know, he did qualify just by being 18th. So these things can happen. You know, you can have someone completely and utterly turn around from amazing staging. I'm not expecting that because San Marino don't have an amazing staging record. But if they qualify, it means that they've done amazing staging. So then I think that this would start to chip into Käärijä's televote, because there's just like a small overlap in genre. I have to admit now, look, there's definitely be less on this side because at the end of the day, Käärijä does stand out a little bit more. He's got a song that's a little bit more unusual. It's a little bit more unique. He's got less competition, full stop. Whereas this column's gonna be pretty full because obviously Eurovision is predominantly a pop competition. Let's talk about one I don't know where to put, and that is Taya and Selena, my girls from Austria. Now, where does this go? Because obviously I think it's got that overlap with female pop, so it'll chip away at Loreen's televote, which she really needs. But then I think it's also got that humor entry, that fun, that charisma, that happiness that Käärijä also has. So I don't think that this is a really obvious one in terms of who it'll affect more. I don't really see Austria like winning a lot of jury. I see them being kind of like mid-table, and again, that could actually act as a buffer for Käärijä. So this one's really difficult for me, and actually after reflecting on it, I decided to put them in the middle. Let's go to another person that Käärijä wants, and Käärijä definitely wants Armenia to qualify. Brunette singing Future Lover. It's got that kind of like dark pop feel that Loreen also has. It's another lady, and I've seen that there has been an overlap in the fandoms of this song and Loreen's song more so than there is with Käärijä's in terms of the Eurovision scoreboard, which I know is not perfect, but it's the biggest source of preference data that we have right now. Yeah, I think this hurts Loreen a lot more. If your Armenia played something big in terms of the staging, I think this could chip into her televote a tiny bit, but yeah, she just doesn't want anyone affecting her televote, and Armenia could do that. Let's go to another one that I think that Loreen wants, and this is one of her fellow contestants from semi-final number 1, and that is Moldova. I think that Loreen wants Moldova to qualify. Again, we've seen recently with Moldova that they have such a great televote. They don't tend to do as well in the jury, but recently they came 2nd last year in the televote. Hey Mama was 3rd in the televote. Doritos did really well in it as well. They've consistently shown that they know how to bring fun and energy and happiness to the stage, and that's a lot of what Käärijä is doing this year. And I think this is just really quite different from Loreen. It's more ethnic feel, it's a male singer. I think this would chip a lot more into Käärijä's televote than it would Loreen's stealing that fun, happy, joyous vote. So yeah, Loreen definitely wants Pasha Parfany in the final. These aren't done in order of importance. We're just looking at all my magnets. I did write notes, but for some reason I'm just ignoring them. Okay, let's go another one that I think Loreen wants, and that is Luke Black from Serbia. As you may know, my top 2 countries at this point in time are Käärijä and Luke Black. I had a lot of people replying in the comments to me of my top 37 videos saying that was also their top 2. So I decided to investigate further, and I have all the data from my top 10 poll that everyone voted in. Thank you to everyone who voted on that. I'm currently looking at all the data and organizing it and trying to pick out patterns. So I went through that and I kind of like sifted through and looked at everyone who voted for Finland and saw how often did they actually vote for Serbia, and there was a pretty high agreement rate. It was one of the highest in terms of that if people like Finland, they were more likely to like Serbia as well. So this one is in semi-final number 1. I really don't hope it happens, but it is a potential shock non qualifier. I'd be pretty devastated if that happened. Eurovision isn't always happiness. I've had one of my top songs go out in the semi-finals before when Verona didn't qualify, so like unfortunately it does happen. I think there is this possibility that there's a connection with Käärijä, so if Luke was to qualify, he could possibly steal away some of Käärijä's votes. It's kind of a little bit more alternative. It's a bit different. The visuals are kind of a bit darker and more computer gamey feel. I just think I feel like there's more of an overlap with Käärijä than there is with Loreen. Another person that Käärijä wants in the final, and he's already gotten his wish, is UK, Mae Muller. Again, female bop song. I've seen a connection with this, with Loreen on the Eurovision scoreboard. And we've also seen OJE as well this year that it's doing very, very well. This is the kind of standard song that you would expect a large demographic in the Eurovision fandom to enjoy. Specifically, televote, I don't think this is going to challenge Loreen in the jury, but in the televote, I think it'll chip away a couple of points, maybe 5-10 points off her televote. Another person that Käärijä wants, and this again is from semi-final number 1, is Switzerland, Remo Ferrer. Now for this one, I don't think it's going to really affect the televote too much, but jury-wise, I think this is going to do really well in the jury. It has a potential, again, to be one of the top 10 jury songs. We've seen that Sacha Jean-Baptiste knows how to do very beautiful, elegant staging, and it's also a very beautiful and elegantly composed song. I think the jury are definitely going to favor this. He's also got a spectacular voice as well, and he's very, very good live. So if Sacha Jean-Baptiste does a really amazing staging with this, I think this will chip into Loreen's jury score a little bit, and I feel like she needs as big a buffer as possible with the jury to stay ahead of Käärijä and win. Okay, another song that Loreen wants, I think that she wants Voyager from Australia to qualify. Again, that kind of rock overlap similar to Lord of the Lost. I think this is gonna nip into anyone who wants something different. This is progressive rock. Obviously Käärijä is more like metal rock rap, but still anyone who wants something outside of the pop vein, this is going to be one of the things that they go to. I'm pretty confident this is going to qualify. So again, Käärijä wants this to be as far away from him as possible, doesn't want to overshadow him in the staging. He wants the staging to be as underwhelming as possible. I don't think that's going to happen because I think they're very seasoned performers. But yes, Loreen definitely wants this to be really successful because it'll chip into Käärijä's televote. Another person chipping into Loreen's jury score will be Blanca Paloma. Again, already an automatic qualifier. I think Loreen's being really unlucky with the automatic qualifiers this year. Pretty much all of them, I feel, are really strong jury, apart from Lord of the Lost. I think 4 out of the 6 of them affect her more. I think a lot of people are agreeing that this could do really, really well with the jury score. She brings a lot of class and passion and artistry, which they look for, and obviously vocally she's exceptional as well. Still hoping that Spain are going to come up with some amazing staging. Still struggling to be convinced that they're definitely going to do well. The televote, I can see this getting 200 points to the televote. I can also see it getting 20. Both of those are equally possible to me at this point in time. So I need a little bit more reassurance about that. But yeah, in terms of a jury, this is going to chip into Loreen more. And while we're on the topic, Marco Mangoni, another person I think can do really well in the jury. I think it's pretty much probably going to get top 10, maybe even top 5. It's got jury bait written all over it. He doesn't need to worry about the televote because he's an automatic qualifier. This will chip into Loreen's jury. Okay, now let's talk about one of the big ones that Loreen wants, and that is Ukraine. A best case scenario for Loreen is that Ukraine gets a huge televote and then doesn't do very well in the jury. The bigger that Ukraine's televote is, that is just going to suck points away from Käärijä so much. It's something I've talked about in my Who's Gonna Win Eurovision video as well. I think that Ukraine could definitely influence who wins, even though I don't think that they'll win themselves at this point. If Ukraine's getting points from every single country, even if it's just small amounts, every time they're above Käärijä, they're taking away 1 or 2 points from him. I'm pretty sure that Ukraine is going to get a couple of 12s in the televote, and every time that they do, that's 2 points less for Käärijä. So yes, Ukraine could have a big factor. What Loreen wants is she wants this to get a big televote. Ukraine, we know, always elevate their staging, very beautiful. They've done a little bit of a revamp, which could lend itself to some even more big drama in the staging. Their staging in Vibir was already fantastic. It's going to be even better in Eurovision. Loreen wants this to suck Käärijä's televote points. Another song that Loreen wants is The Busker from Malta. Now look, at this point in time, this is in the odds not qualifying from semi-final 1, but I still think it has the potential to surprise. It does bring a lot of fun. If they can elevate the staging and bring that fun and happiness, this could chip into Käärijä, but that's a lot of ifs. But again, that's what Loreen's agent wants. Loreen's agent, please don't sue. Loreen's agent doesn't actually want any of this stuff. I'm just joking. Obviously, please don't sue me, Loreen's agent. Let's talk about another country Käärijä wants, and that's Mia Nikolai and Dion Cooper. If they can fix this, obviously we had some small problems with their performances in some of the pre-parties. I think they have enough time that they can practice on that, and the acoustics in Eurovision will be a lot better. I saw a comment from Connor from Wild Youth saying that when they do these pre-parties, they have like 3 minutes to do their sound check, whereas normally it's around 45 minutes. So look, things will be a lot more professional and high quality in Liverpool. If they can pull this together and get some really beautiful staging, I think this is going to be quite a strong jury song, which will chip into Loreen. Let's go to another one that I'm not sure of, and that is Mimi Cat from Portugal. Yeah, I didn't know where to place this because obviously now she's a female artist, but she's also got a quite unique genre. She stands out. I don't know if that would affect Loreen more or Käärijä. Also, she's singing in Portuguese, so anyone who likes the non-English songs or enjoys seeing songs, feeling a cultural element from a song in a different language, that might overlap with Käärijä, who's singing in Finnish. So yeah, this one wasn't really obvious to me. I think my gut is that it favors Käärijä a little bit more, but yeah, maybe let me know in the comments, what do you think about this one? Do you think it'll affect Loreen or Käärijä more? I'm gonna put it on the middle, but a little bit over to the Käärijä side. And speaking of an ethnic sound, let's talk about Vesna. Yeah, Vesna, I had the flag the right way. Again, I think it's more likely to affect Loreen because, again, kind of a female pop song, especially if they can bring those like really beautiful deluxe imagery that what they had in the music video. I think that'll chip into Loreen, who has, again, this really beautiful, mystical, natural looking imagery. So Käärijä wants them to elevate back to the music video, and I want that as well, not just Käärijä. Tom wants it as well, please. Okay, we're getting into some of the like less sure to qualify countries. Okay, let's talk about some of the countries I just don't think will have an impact either way. So first of those is Wild Youth Ireland. I think even if they do qualify, I just don't think that they're going to really chip into either of them. I don't think they have a massive overlap with either of the artists. So yeah, I don't see them having a huge impact. Same thing for Andrew Lambrou. I think that he will qualify. I don't really see him doing much damage in the final. If he has a huge overlap with Loreen, so yeah, I'm putting him in the middle. Another person I'm not sure if she'll qualify is Dilyao. I think this has a little bit of an overlap with Loreen, but I really do think that Loreen's just going to kind of win all of their mini battles. So even if she does qualify, I don't really see her denting Loreen. This is meant to be in the middle. I might need to draw a line over it. Wait, this one's meant to be, I'm just moving them a little bit. I don't have a big enough whiteboard, that's a problem. My big whiteboard I had to leave in China. Let's put one on Loreen's side because I'm running out of space on Käärijä's side. So Sudden Lights from Latvia. I think this would chip in a little bit at Käärijä, but I'm thinking like maybe 1-2 points max, and that's if it qualifies, which at this point in time it doesn't look like it will, but I still hope it does. If Theodore Andrei can turn things around and really elevate his staging and bring the fun and wildness and wackiness and unpredictability that he had in the national final, but clean it up and make it more elegant and professional, this could actually affect Käärijä. So I think Loreen wants that to qualify. I shouldn't have made this box so big because now I've run out of space. Okay, we've only got 8 countries left. I don't think that Riley is going to affect either of them, to be honest. I really can't see Tural Turanex doing much either. If they massively elevated their staging, I suppose it's something that's kind of like a unique genre, so probably affect Käärijä a little bit more. So let's put it a little bit over more towards his side. But that's quite a big if. One person that could actually affect though is Monica Lenkite. She should do okay jury-wise. Actually, she's done surprisingly badly in Euro jury. I think she's got like almost no points, which I was really surprised by. She's got points from 2 countries, which yeah, I thought she'd do much better in the jury. So yeah, I'm gonna put it in the middle at this point in time. Well, I've run out of space in the middle, I'm gonna have to put it here. Okay, let's talk about Joker Out from Slovenia. I would say this more goes into Käärijä's side. This is so messy now, but yeah, I think it's indie rock pop. I don't know if there's a massive overlap. Let's put it a little bit more on Käärijä's side, but I'm actually trying to put it in the middle, but I've run out of space. Okay, so of the ones we've got left, look, Blanca's not going to do anything. Let's just pop her in the middle. She's up here somewhere. Oh no, I don't want on that. You know, I don't want to leave her off the board, that's pretty harsh. Let's put her here. We're just gonna have to stack countries at the bottom now. Belgium, I don't know. Oh, I hope he does well, but I just don't think it'll be one more than the other. Albania, given like ethnic, different feel, again, I just don't see this having a huge impact. I just don't think it'll do well in the televote. And then finally, can you work out who the last country is? I'll give you 2 seconds to work it out. It is Viktor Bernikos. Again, I think this could actually affect Käärijä more, but there's a huge amount of ifs. It's like if he elevates, if he comes and brings something big, he can be something that's kind of stands out, a little bit different, a little bit unique, and that could chip a little bit into Käärijä's televote. So we'll put him on this side. So to kind of highlight my point, let's say this is a scenario where Norway doesn't qualify, Georgia, Armenia, Estonia, Israel. Like imagine these 5 countries don't qualify. How does Loreen not win? Like her televote is going to gain 70, 80 points just from those 5 going alone. On the flip side, let's say that Croatia, Serbia, Austria, Moldova, all of those don't qualify. Again, Käärijä's televote is going to be even better. So yeah, you can see it. Who qualifies could really affect what happens. Obviously there's running order as well, what songs are placed either side of each person. The main thing is you want to stand out, you want to be different, you want to be unique, you want to have the least amount of competition possible in your genre. Now, of course, these are the 2 favorites now, but of course, I think there's going to be more favorites when we get to rehearsals. Hopefully someone emerges as another potential winner. We don't want it to just be 2 people. We want this to be like very exciting race between 4 or 5 countries like we had in 2020. So I'm really looking forward to someone stepping up to the plate, bringing amazing staging. But yeah, this is just a little bit of fun before rehearsals happen. Okay, what do you think of my list? Which countries would you move? Who would you put on different sides? Which one do you think I got wrong? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you like this analysis video and you want to see some more, I'll leave some links over here. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, and thanks so much for watching. I'm seeing another Eurovision analysis video very soon. Goodbye. Blah, 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 blah.